The Science of Muscle. 15 Things to Know About Packing on Size. Think of the stereotypical woman in modern Western society, and what type of woman do you think of? A woman with a tiny midsection, pretty skinny and slim all over, toned and fit, and a woman who's got a drop-dead gorgeous physique to go along with her stunning looks. A lot of women hate that gender stereotype, because for many, achieving that look is basically impossible. Well, men have to put up with these stereotypes too, and for dudes out there, it's all about getting big and lean, with a ripped and chiseled physique. Nowadays, more of us than ever before are walking around with muscular, ripped physiques, or are at least working hard in an effort to get one. But we're constantly being bombarded with these images of guys and their ripped physiques, images that adorn magazine covers with actors and other celebs that are on TV. Most guys want to look like that, look like these celebs, but don't have the foggiest idea how to go about it. For the majority of people wanting to get built, the process of putting things in place to get there comprises of buying a gym membership, throwing around some weights, then going off and sitting in the sauna when things start to hurt. The week is needed to recuperate, and then they're at it again, doing the same useless session. Others feel the need to pump their bodies full of drugs, then train half-ass and expect to blow up, pack on size, and get the results they're looking for. It doesn't work like that. To get big, or to get swole as most gym brats would say, you need to first understand what's going on, the physiology and the mechanisms involved in building muscle. Only then will you be able to approach things the right way, to establish that mind-muscle connection that you always hear bodybuilders harping on about. This article's about the science, physiology, and psychology behind building muscle and packing on quality muscle mass. 9. There's no such thing as overtraining. A lot of people love hearing this because it gives them an excuse to train for an hour or so, then call it quits, and lift weights maybe only on a few days a week. It's the lazy person's excuse, but it's not them that's to blame. They're only getting this information from people who deem themselves to be experts. But there is absolutely no such thing as overtraining. I get what these people are trying to say, but overtraining's the wrong way to put it. There's such a thing as under-recuperating, but overtraining? No. You can kill yourself in the gym for 12 hours a day if that's what you want to do, and as long as you're getting in your 40 winks, getting in plenty of rest, and you're eating enough of the right foods to get your body through the workout and for your muscle to strengthen and grow at the end of it, everything should be just fine. If you're training 12 hours a day, sleeping for a couple of hours, eating a couple of godly meals, then, of course, the next day you'll feel like you're at death's door. That's a case of under-recuperating, not overtraining. 10. The impact of hormones. Hormones are essentially what gives a guy the ability to pack on huge amounts of muscle. They are why, when you're a teenager and in your 20s, you're more likely to be able to build an awesome muscular physique, with more ease, and keep off the fat, and then as you get older, things gradually begin to go the other way. There are a number of hormones involved in muscle building, but the main one being testosterone. It's the male hormone, and what it does is to repurpose pluripotent cells, essentially stem cells, without a function to become muscle cells rather than fat cells. It's why bodybuilders who have packed a lot of lean hard muscle onto their frames also have only a few % body fat, because this hormone steers cells into the path of becoming muscle, not fat. People know that testosterone is the key hormone when it comes to building muscle, hence why many add to their body's natural production of this hormone by taking synthetic forms of it, anabolic steroids. 11. The intensity, volume, and duration. No one has the perfect way for you to train. Sure, there are things that work for everybody, training techniques that everyone's bodies will respond to, but at the same time, it's important to know that everyone's body is different, and some respond better to certain training styles rather than others. We each have a different physiological makeup, and what's more, muscles within the body have their own makeup too. You could be someone who loves to train heavy when bicep training and you've got some of the biggest arms around, but your chest doesn't get a goddamn thing out of heavy-duty training. It requires a more moderate amount of weight, more reps, and more sets. So, the intensity of each person's training, volume of sets, the duration of the workout, all influence muscle growth, but you've got to give different styles a try if you're a gym rookie and see which type of training your body responds to the best. 12. Muscle damage. Ever heard the expression tear it down and it'll be built up stronger, or something along those lines? This definitely holds true when it comes to packing on muscle mass. You should take the term killing it in the gym quite literally. The aim of your session should be to obliterate that muscle you're working. Tear it down to the point of failure, to the point where it's sore as hell and literally can't lift another thing. That's when you know you've had a damn good gym session. It's also something you need to push through. Most people, especially those who first start lifting weights, when they experience that soreness, they take a long time off before they're at it in the gym again. But muscle soreness, which essentially means you're damaging the muscle, is great for growth. After repeatedly heavy sessions, muscle fibers will be torn apart, ripped to shreds and built up again stronger, and be reinforced with new fibers and tissues, giving you strength and that dense look in the muscle. 13. Mechanical tension. This is perhaps the most important factor when it comes to building muscle. Now there are different ways to train, sure. The previous point, for example, where I delved into the pump, involves primarily the use of a moderate amount of weight, and more volume. That's one way to achieve the pump and to spark your muscles into growth. Another way, and the preferred way for most people, is to put the muscle under a tremendous amount of stress and tension, something that can only be achieved in this manner by lifting heavier weight. It's about lifting more weight than the muscle is used to, which puts it under a lot of stress and means it has to adapt and make changes in order to deal with that added tension. Do this time and time again, session after session, and the physiology, the chemical makeup, of the muscle will change, meaning you'll eventually be able to lift more and lift heavier, which will cause the muscle to change again, so on and so forth in this muscle building cycle. 14. Metabolic stress. I mentioned in the intro, the term getting swole. That isn't just a made-up saying, or something referring to getting bigger and more muscular. It refers to the cell swelling, otherwise known as the pump. The pump is something that every person wanting to build muscle and have a really productive workout should be aspiring to get every time they enter the gym. It's basically metabolic stress which causes cell swelling to occur around the muscle that's being trained. Glycogen from your carbohydrate intake helps swell the muscle, which can contribute to muscle cell growth. Anyone who's never experienced the pump is missing out on the whole point of training with weights to gain muscle. In fact, most people stop when they feel the pump because it hurts. It's a really tight feeling due to all the blood rushing into the muscle, and it'll feel like your skin is going to explode. As perhaps the most famous bodybuilder of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger, once said, "No article on packing on size would be complete without a quotation or two from Arnie. The pump is like coming. The feeling's as satisfying as having sex with a woman." Now, who wouldn't want that sensation every time they visit the gym? Get coming, I mean pumping. 15. Carbs aren't just the source of energy. If you want to get big, you probably know that your diet, what you put in your body and feed your muscles with, is an integral, it can even be said to be the most important, part of the whole muscle building process. You can lock yourself away in the gym for hours and hours, keep pounding weights until you're about to drop, but if you haven't gotten your diet and nutrition in check, forget about building muscle. Protein is of course massively important when it comes to building muscle, but I'll get into that in a bit. Carbohydrates, although many athletes tend to limit their carbs, should definitely be a part of your diet. Good, quality carbs that is. Carbohydrates give you energy, but, something a lot of people aren't really aware of, they fill out your muscles, giving them that round, fuller appearance. That's why pro bodybuilders deplete themselves from carbs leading up to a competition. Then suddenly, about a week before they're due to step on stage, they carb load, which basically means, if done properly, eating nothing but carbohydrates. This is all done to fill out the muscle, replenish those depleted glycogen stores, and give those muscles a more rounded look. Now of course, don't do this. What these top pros do is seriously bad for their health, and they take insulin too because they're taking in so many carbs. But the message to take away from this is if you want to get big, you've got to eat carbs, along with your protein of course.